At the moment, I'm on the top of the walls of Derry, the walls of London Derry. People have different names for it. Next year they'll be 400 years old, and they're wearing well. What I like about this is that, first of all, you can walk right around it. It's a mile circuit, you can walk right around it. In the past you couldn't have done that because there was an army camp here, because there was security fences all over the place. During the siege, 1688, 1689, this is where the defenders would have stood. It would have been mainly Protestant. They would have looked out on King James's forces, mainly Catholic. And now the lines are kind of still the same. That's the Bogside, world famous, of course. A mainly Catholic area. In fact, I think all Catholic area. That's where a lot of incidents would have happened during the Troubles. Up here, inside the city walls, that would have been still seen as like the Protestant city walls. You can see why things happened 300 years ago, and you can see why things happened 50 years ago and 40 years ago too. I just love coming up here. And it's even sunny today as well. It's unusual. I will be honest, it's unusual. This is Florentini's Cafe. You would say it's not a traditional Derry name, but it actually is. The family have been here for, I would say, 100 years, and it's still run by Sonny Florentini and his sons Michael and Stephen. They're famous for chips, also famous for ice cream. Italians, they do ice cream. So if you ever come to Derry, you have to eat in Florentini's. By 1986, 1987, there was an art kind of competition project for works which were specific to the city walls. And Anthony Gormley, a young sculptor at the time, produced 4 of these. For a number of years, Derry didn't really put this in a good spot. I think this is the only one that was kept in the city. Derry being Derry, there's also some rude symbols painted onto it. But I remember the time I interviewed Anthony Gormley, and somebody said to him, well, what happens if it's attacked? He says, great. He says, if people react to it, that's what he wanted. Of course, if you bring children here, what you do is you bring children up and they look out through the eyes and you can see through them. But I won't do that. I'm beyond that. No, I will actually. Yeah, it still works. We're just now outside Ferryquay Gate, very historic gate, but more historical to me is the fact that at the entrance to that shopping centre, there was a bar called the Casba. And in 1977, we asked and we were granted the chance to play there. And we played in the Casba. It was a very small pub. Played there almost every weekend for the next 18 months. That's where we really became a proper band. Fergal told us years later, do you know what the Casba was? He says it was a porta-cabin and it was plastered over and painted white, and it was placed over a hole in the ground where a pub used to be, but the pub was blown up. This is the Peace Bridge, opened June 2010, and I would say it's the one thing that has completely changed Derry. Certainly made me absolutely fall in love with Derry again. It opened up the city centre. It brought people to parts of the city that they'd never been to. I cross this bridge twice a day, and every time I step foot on it, or every time my bicycle goes onto this bridge, I still get a wee buzz of excitement. And I think that'll be with me for the rest of my life. It's just completely changed the city. I'm at the bottom of William Street, which is, I suppose you could say, it's the entrance to the Bogside, a famous part of Derry. 1970s, there would have been a lot of street rioting here, almost on a daily basis. That's finished now, of course, but it's still it's a place with great character. One of the best places to taste that character is in Frankie Ramsey's Cafe. Now, Frankie himself is no longer with us, but his name survives because people here call this cafe Swanky Frankie's, and it's very, very good. This is Ebrington Parade Ground. 5, 6, 7 years ago, you couldn't have got here. This was the parade ground of an actual army barracks. This is where the City of Culture events for 2013 will happen, really. They say that this square is bigger than Trafalgar Square, and I didn't believe it until I checked the measurements. Yeah, it is bigger than Trafalgar Square. We've had concerts here. We're going to have the Turner Prize here. But it's a brilliant place to come on a Sunday morning, just walk around, just stand here and just look over at Derry, as we would say, old Derry. You look across, you see the buildings, you see the river, you see the Peace Bridge. I just love it here. You come here and suddenly everything's great with the word. It's called Sandino's, named after the Nicaraguan revolutionaries. Arguably the best bar in Derry. It's very, very different too. It's not very Irish. I'm sitting here in front of a great photograph here of the Sioux celebrate their victory over Custer at the Bighorn, June 25th, 1876. You know, you don't get tables like that in Wetherspoons, do you? I did for a year and a half, and after the Undertones broke up in '83, I lived in London. But I think my heart was always back in Derry. It's the kind of place where, you know, people will know you and people will say hello to you. I don't think I'll ever move. I think maybe it's too late for me to move. But I don't think there's any reason for me to move either. I'll stay here.